So you're thinking about moving to New Braunfels, Texas, and you want a piece of that sweet Texas hill country land, and you might want an acre or more, and you've heard about some communities like Vintage Oaks or Riverchase or Copper Ridge or Havenwood. Well, in this video, we're going to do a high-level top overview glance at some of these neighborhoods, so stick around. What up, y'all? It's Travis Stegall with eXp Realty right here in New Braunfels, Texas. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about working, playing, sleeping, hanging out, being a part of the community right here in New Braunfels, Texas, then hit that subscribe button and click that bell. That way you're notified every time I drop a new video. And honestly, my team and me are getting calls every single week from folks just like you who are looking into New Braunfels, Texas. So if you're thinking about moving or relocating anywhere in the New Braunfels area, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, however you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to Texas. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into it. You're thinking about moving here and you've seen some of these amazing communities that we have here in New Braunfels, Texas, such as Vintage Oaks, Copper Ridge, Havenwood, and Riverchase. These are the four neighborhoods and communities that I'm going to cover in this video. And this is going to be a very high level overview of these communities. I'll do another series where I get deep dive into each individual community, but I'm getting calls and texts and emails every single day, people wanting to know about Copper Ridge, Vintage Oaks, Riverchase. So I figured I'd do a quick video doing a high-level overglance of it and just kind of hopefully give you guys a better idea of what these communities have to offer and what you could expect when you go see these communities. So let's dive right into it. The very first one I want to get into is Riverchase. Riverchase is one of the older neighborhoods out of these four that I'm going over today. Riverchase is a beautiful neighborhood. It has very large lots, lots of custom homes. Like I said, the houses are going to be a little bit older in there. It's a non-gated community, but it's very safe. It's got a great location. It's right off of 306, so I think it's probably only about 10, maybe 15 minutes away from Canyon Lake. So if you're into the water activities, boating, fishing, kayaking, anything like that, it's going to be a perfect location for you. And then also, if you're commuting to work, with it being right off of 306, you just jump on 306, drive down to 35, and either shoot up north to Austin or down south to San Antonio. The houses in that neighborhood, they'll start in the high fours, and then they'll go all the way up to the 800,000 maybe at the very high end, and sometimes they'll cap a little bit over. All the houses in there are custom, so there are certain houses that are probably occupied right now that are immaculate with swimming pool and basketball hoop and all that might sell, especially with the way the market's going, for higher than that 800,000. But you could typically find an average house in there about $625,000. But there are houses in the neighborhood that are much less, in the high fours. Riverchase also has, on the opposite side of 306, majority of the community is on the north side of 306, but there is a section that is on the south side of 306, and that section you have access to the river as well. So it's got a great amenity of the river that you're able to access, and so if that's something that you like, it's none of the other neighborhoods are going to offer any live water, natural water. The other neighborhoods, they do have more broader amenities, but they aren't gonna have your live water, your river running through the neighborhood. So let's get into the next one. Is Havenwood. Havenwood is a beautiful community. It's gated. When I first found out about it, it was like a little oasis. It's off of Hunter Road, and then all of a sudden you pull up and there's this beautiful gated entrance. And so again, all the houses in this neighborhood are going to be mainly custom built homes. It still has some construction going on in there of houses being built. There is still lots being sold with just raw land so that you could build your custom home with whatever builder of your choice in Havenwood. Havenwood has a beautiful amenity center with 3 separate swimming pools, tennis courts, basketball courts. It's also, the houses in that neighborhood of Havenwood are quite a bit newer than Riverchase. And then, like I mentioned, there's some brand new houses in there. I just showed a house in there earlier, actually it was just yesterday. And the house was built less than a year ago. It was selling for $745,000. That's probably at the higher price point of this neighborhood. But the house was amazing. It was a very open floor plan. It had a huge center island in the kitchen that overlooked the living room, and then it had a formal dining room, and then it had a beautiful office right when you walked in the door. The office was right there to the left, and it had doors on it for some privacy. That way you could get your work done. And then to the right was your formal dining. You kept going just a little bit, and then there was the living room. And behind the living room was the kitchen, and it had a little breakfast nook. It had white granite countertops, white cabinets, farmhouse style kitchen sink. It was beautiful. My clients, it checked off all the boxes. Unfortunately, they were 3 months out from moving to town, and the house had just hit the market, and they didn't want to make an offer right away, knowing that the house would be unoccupied for over 2 months and that they would be paying mortgage on a house that they weren't even able to live at or enjoy. And then they still had their house back in, I think they were from Ohio, actually Cleveland, Ohio. And so unfortunately, it's not going to be on the market probably for a net, I'm pretty positive that one already went under contract. It was on the market for a total of 3 days. So that's just how houses are going right now. It's April of 2021. The market is absolutely insane. I just think a lot of people are finding out how great the hill country is and how great New Braunfels is, and so everyone's wanting to move here. There's the pros and cons of that. It's creating a lot of job opportunity for lots of individuals, but at the same time, it's hiking up those property taxes for some people that were used to paying fairly low property taxes, and now all of a sudden the assessed value of their house is a lot higher. But Havenwood, it's one of my favorite communities. One of the nicest things about this community is the location. It's going to be the closest out of all 4 of these neighborhoods to 35 and to New Braunfels. I believe you're only about 2 miles from Green at Havenwood, and you're about another mile and a half to downtown New Braunfels from Havenwood. Beautiful community. If you guys have any questions, leave me comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have in the comments. Let's jump right into the next one. The next one is Copperidge. Copperidge is one of my favorite communities. The houses in Copperidge are breathtaking. They are mansions. They are some of the biggest houses New Braunfels has to offer, and some of the most expensive houses New Braunfels has to offer. Unfortunately, currently in that community right now, there are no resale houses, 0. I'm constantly looking in that community every single day for clients that I have interested, that they tell me, as soon as a house comes available in Copperidge, send us the link, send us the listing. We want to see it. We want to know about it. So every single day I am looking for listings available in Copper Ridge. There are some lots available that you could purchase and build your custom home on, but as far as resale goes, there's nothing resale. That is also another gated community. What's unique about this gated community is there's actually a guard there on site checking people's IDs and credentials to get into the community. So if you want a neighborhood that's very safe for your young ones or very safe for your family and you could sleep comfortably, by far, all these neighborhoods are very safe, but Copper Ridge is probably one of the safest because it does have that guard checking everyone in, and everyone has to go through them if they want to get into the neighborhood. And then also some of the views that you're going to have in this neighborhood are the best views in New Braunfels and the best hill country views you could imagine. It's got these beautiful rolling hills with all these oak trees everywhere, and so it just makes for one of the most picturesque communities we have. It won't have all the amenities as the next one, Vintage Oaks, but it does have, your sports courts and your walking trails and stuff. But it seems like a lot of the houses in this community, they build their own private swimming pool, in their backyard. But it's amazing. The average price of the houses in Copper Ridge are about, $650,000. Like I mentioned, they go up over $1 million plus easily in this neighborhood. When the inventory homes were being built in there, they were about the high fives. Starting out was the starting point. And then like I mentioned, they go all the way up to $1 million plus. So it's also another beautiful community. This community is located off of Highway 46 towards the west side of town. So it takes about, 5-6 minutes to get to the closest shopping centers. And then from Copper Ridge to 35, you're looking at about 15 to 20 minutes to get to I-35. So it's something to keep in mind if you're looking for a short commute where you have to go into work every day. That leads us into our next neighborhood, Vintage Oaks. Vintage Oaks is one of the most sought after neighborhoods in New Braunfels, and that's mainly because of the amenities. The amenities in Vintage Oaks are by far the most resort style amenities that we have to offer. There's a lazy river, there's a lap pool, there's multiple swimming pools. I believe there's 4 different swimming pools. Within Vintage Oaks, there's 3 gated communities within the community. The actual general broad area of Vintage Oaks is not gated, but it's also very safe. Vintage Oaks, the only real downside of Vintage Oaks that I've had arise with my clients is the commute. It is about 8 minutes, 9 minutes from the front of Vintage Oaks to the local grocery store, HEB. But if you live in the back of the neighborhood, you could easily add on another 10 or 15 minutes just to get to the front, and then from the front to the HEB or to the closest grocery store. So you're looking at about a 15 or 20 minute commute just to get to the local shops and grocery stores. And then if you're traveling to I-35 and you need to go up to Austin or down to San Antonio, you're looking at about 25 to 30 minutes plus just to get to 35, and then shooting up or down 35 wherever you're headed to. So that's the only downside, but Vintage Oaks is a beautiful community. I make a joke. I think if you live in the community, you have to have a golf cart. Everyone rides around golf carts in the community. They all park them at their local community center where they have 3 different swimming pools, a play toy for the kids, the lazy river for the whole family. The lazy river is alcohol friendly, but there is no glass. But it's funny, I have a friend who's a sales agent there in Vintage Oaks, and she actually lives in the community, and she says that she'll put her little wine in a little sippy cup and just float that lazy river on her off days. Every time I go and check out the community center, show my clients and show my friends how amazing Vintage Oaks is, they're just always blown away. You walk into this community center and I mean, it's got like 30 or 40 foot arched stone ceilings. It's got a wine room over to the, you walk in and over to the right, it's got the wine room. It's indoors, it's AC, there's a fireplace. You could have events in there. You have to rent it, you have day rentals. And then there's also like a cabana area over to the left that has a grill and a lot of patio furniture, comfortable patio furniture that you could also entertain guests for and have a little get-together party, graduation party, whatever. And then also within Vintage Oaks, there's a brand new section that's been around for 3 or 4 years called The Grove. And The Grove is houses and that are not on acre lots. Majority of Vintage Oaks, in the older section of Vintage Oaks, you're always going to have, you know, acre lots plus. You know, there's some lots in Vintage Oaks that are 5 acres. I even know of one that's of 10 acres. So you have very large lots with very big custom homes. The average house in Vintage Oaks is about $625,000, and that's in the acreage section. And then you also have the Grove section where it has the smaller lots where the houses are in like a typical style neighborhood. They don't have the huge lots with the custom homes. The houses in the Grove are still somewhat custom, but not fully custom like in the acreage. And the houses price range average in the Grove is about $475,000 to $500,000 is your average price in the Grove. And that's, you know, the lower end of things. There are houses in the Grove that go up to the $700,000 and $800,000 too. But those are going to be a lot larger homes, you know, 3,000 square feet homes. The nice thing about living in the Grove is you can get into the Vintage Oaks with all the amenities of the tennis courts, and also Vintage Oaks has like, I think over 10-15 miles of walking trails throughout the entire community, and it actually loops the whole community in the walking trails. So if that's something that you like, and it's hiking trails and biking trails, so that's a plus. And like I was gonna say, the Grove, you're allowed to enjoy all the amenities that Vintage Oaks has to offer at a very low, more affordable price point. But you're still able to enjoy all the resort amenities with the lazy river, the fitness center, the lap pools, the multiple play areas for the kids, and it's amazing. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want to go see one of these communities, please leave me a comment, give me a phone call, send me an email, however you want to get a hold of me. I have your back, trust me, 100%. I'm happy and willing, and it's a pleasure to work and try to find you a beautiful home that for you and your family, or for you. So I hope you like this high level overview of these 4 communities. I'm going to do another video where I break down each community one by one and do an in-depth dive on that. So let me know which community you want me to break down first for this next series of breaking down these communities. I think that they're the most sought after neighborhoods in New Braunfels, especially for people not relocating, but relocating to New Braunfels from out of state, because they see that Texas hill country lifestyle, and they see the big houses and the big lots. And so So if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below.